Yeah, that pulled up still.
Okay.
Now let's say, can you hear me?
They want to do it live.
Now let's say, yeah, you can. Can you hear me?
How are you? Okay, right here. Okay. Yeah, right. And then. Okay. Yeah, you did a great job. Yeah, so very good. Yeah. You can touch it. They are right. Should we have like no.
We have our photographer. Yeah.
Testing 1, 2. Okay. Yes. Okay.
I'll be back in with the judges. I'll have the video.
Microphone check. 1, 2. Check, check. Microphone check. Where's my? Okay.
Sheriff with me.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sheriff. Marshall has the sheriff with him.
I'm concentrating on my heritage. My present.
Lawson, Oxford, Ramon Alexander, Lorana Austin. Jack Campbell, and Thomas, and then all the commissioners in order from chair, vice chair, and all the same with the city. Right now we've got 3. Yeah. State goes Tiger goes last. Okay, so you got Jack Campbell goes to the sheriff. He represents 6 counties. Federal, state, county, 6 county, city. Yeah.
You guys are freaking.
Just trying to make sure they understand it. You got it? State. County, state, and county. I got Campbell, I got Wall McNeil, I got. Where's the DCA? Where's the list? Okay, Roger.
Everybody in order in there. That's the hard part too. No, I mean in there. Come on. I'm trying to look at a big number. Are you? No, I don't. I'm just saying. I don't. Right. No, I want it. No, I want it. Delivering it. Can't handle it. Can't handle it.
That's what this is here.
I blew it.
The retired judges are in the back. Very back. After you're a commissioner. Retired judges are great. Yeah, either. Yeah, I don't have to pick up. One Marshall's here.
All right, this ceremonial session session of the Second Judicial Circuit of Florida is called to order. The Honorable Chief Judge Jonathan Sherstrom presiding.
Thank you so much. Thank you all very much. Please be seated. Have a seat. Welcome to this ceremonial session of the Second Circuit Court to celebrate the investiture of the Honorable Stephen S. Everett to the responsibility and authority of the office of Circuit Judge. It's our privilege to be with you today. Thank you so much for coming here to this day to witness Judge Everett accepting the responsibility and authority of this office. We have lots of people to recognize whose presence honors us today. First, judges of the First District Court of Appeal, Judge Stephanie Ray, Judge Thomas Winokur, Bo Winokur, Judge Clay Roberts, L. Clayton Roberts, Joe Lewis, Joseph Lewis, Lori Rowe, and Ross Bilbrey. Thank you, judges of the First District Court of Appeal. We are honored by your presence. Also with us today, Second Circuit State Attorney, the Honorable Jack Campbell is with us today. Thank you very much. You know what? I missed some retired judges. Judge Karen Gievers is with us today. Judge James O'Shelfer is with us. Thank you so much for being here. The Honorable Terry Lewis back there trying not to make eye contact. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. Judge, so Paula Watkins operates me like a marionette. This is for those of you that are keeping score at home, that's the first mistake I've made. It may be easier if you keep up with the things that I don't make mistakes on than if you try and count the mistakes that I make. Thank you, Paula. That's all right. I'm used to it. Leon County Sheriff Walt McNeil is with us. Sheriff McNeil, thank you so much. We're honored by your presence, sir. Leon County Clerk of Court, the Honorable Gwen Marshall is with us. Clerk Marshall, thank you so much. I missed our Wednesday meeting. I blame myself. I'm sorry. Retired Second Circuit Judge Karen Gievers is still here. She has a card. City of Tallahassee Commissioner Diane Williams Cox is present. Thank you so much, Commissioner Williams Cox, for being here. Judges of the Second Circuit are present. The Second Circuit is 16 circuit and 10 county judges, 5 Leon County judges, serving 6 counties in a geographic area of the size of the state of Connecticut. Many of those judges are present today to honor Steve's day. I'm not going to read those names off for you, but I do want you to know that they are here and present for this occasion. At this time, I call upon the Reverend Dr. R.B. Holmes, Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, for the invocation. I ask that you please approach and that we give our close attention. Reverend Holmes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Shall we pray? Eternal God, we are so thankful that you have blessed us to live in a great country, and a great place, and a great city, and a great county. Then, God, we thank you for the presence of your gifts, the gift of judgment and wisdom and honesty. We thank you for this young man who now is one of our circuit judges. You said in your word that the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. And Judge Everett is a good man. Continue to order his steps. Continue to bless his beautiful wife and son and parents and his entire household. And Lord, continue to give him strength, wisdom, grace, kindness, and sound judgment. In your precious and holy name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Holmes. At this time, I call upon Major Barbara R. Jean of the United States Air Force to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd all please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. All right. Well, before we came out to get started, it's a busy courthouse. Trial courts are busy places, and we don't always get together as often as we would like. And before we were started, we got a little bit of time to take some pictures, share some fellowship. And when we were talking back there, we were talking about what a celebration this is. A judge moving from the county court to the circuit court. It's a historic day for us. Judge Everett will be the first African-American male to serve as a circuit judge in the history of the Second Judicial Circuit. So today, circuit judges, county judges have a lot of responsibilities, serious business, but this is a joyful day. This is a ceremonial session. And as we were getting ready to come in, Judge Fleury was saying he was going to have a hard time not laughing because he had I think he knows some funny stories. I don't know. And I've just blown it for him. But this is a happy occasion, and I hope there's some laughter. But I hope we celebrate. I know we will. At this time, the Honorable Ronald Fleury, Circuit Judge of the Second Judicial Circuit, I ask that you give him your close attention. I call upon him for remarks. Judge Fleury. Let's give him a round of applause.
May it please the court.
Very well.
Now that there's not any pressure on me to be funny, good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
It is my honor and my privilege to speak to you for 6 minutes. Steve said I could say whatever I wanted, provided I did not exceed 6 minutes. See, apparently in some prior investitures, some of the speakers may have gone a little bit long. So, Steve, I'm going to honor your wishes. When Steve was appointed to Leon County bench, well, let me back up just 1 second because there was a roast portion to this. And after further consideration, it occurred to me that knowing Steve in the future, it's more probable than not than Judge Stephen Everett will be sitting over here with our District Court of Appeal judges, and I thought better of it. But more importantly, my daughter is vying to be Pax's full-time babysitter, and she said, be nice to Judge Everett. When Steve was appointed to the Leon County bench, he moved into the office right next to mine, and we became fast friends. And it became pretty clear pretty quickly that Judge Stephen Everett was and is the real deal. I'd like to share with you some of the observations I've made that lead me to believe that Steve's going to be an exceptional circuit judge. Reverend Holmes stole a little bit of my thunder because first and foremost, Steve Everett is a good person. He knows how to treat people. And he recognizes that if all was perfect in this world, the parties and their issues would never have to be in court with him. So he's not going to say or do anything that's going to make the process more of an ordeal than it already is. He understands that these issues for these parties may very well be the most important thing going on in their lives and he is going to continue to treat them with respect and dignity, and he's going to continue to treat them in the very manner that he was treated. Steve is intelligent, and very inquisitive. Now, Dr. Everett and Natalie and Major Jean, I would venture to guess that young Steve growing up was fond of asking why. Now, rest assured, that has not changed. He doesn't just want to know what the right answer is. He wants to know why and what is being relied upon in determining that answer. And for inquiring minds out there, Judge Everett does not view this is how we've always done it as reliable authority. And I should know because I tried that with him. And it didn't work. The truth of the matter is, he came to me in the morning and he said, he wanted to run by how I would handle a particular legal situation. I told him what I thought was the way to do it. And then he looked at me and he said, why? Well, I got to tell you, I had been doing it this way for years and years, and I can't remember why I did it that way. So I blamed it on Judge Cooper. Steve is rock steady. I've never seen him get overly worked up or excited about anything, except when he tells me about the weekend that he had with Megan and Pax. And you know what? That's important because he understands that as a judge, he sets the tone in the courtroom. He is authoritative, but calm and respectful. He truly understands the importance of how his tone and how his calm demeanor positively affects the parties and the public's perception of the administration of justice. Now, I've told you that Steve's a good person, that he's smart, that he's inquisitive, and that he's steady. But what is probably his most admirable quality is his humility. There is not an arrogant, conceited bone in Steve Everett's body. And as I've learned and as Megan has confirmed, Steve is not interested in status symbols. He's not interested in titles or material things. He knows he is blessed to have this new opportunity to serve, and he will continue to serve as a humble servant. And last but not least, he looks like a judge. I mean, look at him. But don't take my word for it. You be the judge.
Thank you. Let's see.
Hold on, before I do that,
Wait, there's
I
more.
forgot one important thing. I bet when he was born, he looked judicial. You be the judge. He still has that contemplative look. Steve, I want to thank you for asking me to speak today. And from my family to yours, we wish you a long and blessed career. God bless. Thank you all.
Thank you. Well said, Ron. Ron.
6 minutes.
Before I recognize the next speaker, there's a couple of the folks I just wanted to recognize: the great Owen McCall, Kara Fenlon, Max Factor, Tim Serio, fine members of the bar, Mary Pankowski, grandmother of my first-year intern who's going to start here in the next week or so, are all present. Thank you all so much. You honor us by your presence. At this time, I ask that we give our close attention an outstanding trial lawyer, founding partner of the Akbar law firm, friend of the court, Mataki Akbar, to give remarks. Mr. Akbar.
Good afternoon. May it please the court.
Well,
It's a great honor to be on the program today to give remarks on behalf of Judge Everett. For those of you who have been to the last couple of investitures, you'll know that I've kind of forced my way up to give presentations, and I've learned that you get a good seat when you're on the program. But this time I was actually asked by Judge Everett to give some remarks, and it's indeed a great honor. When Judge Everett asked me to speak, he didn't ask me to get up here and say how great he is or how great he's been as a county court judge. What he asked me to speak about was how historically significant this whole investiture and his appointment is. Judge Everett understands that he stands on the shoulders of people like Judge James Dean. For those of you who don't know who Judge James Dean is, Judge James Dean was said to be the first Black judge in the state of Florida, and is said to be the first Black judge elected in the Reconstruction South. Judge Dean was elected to be the county judge in Key West, Monroe County in 1888. He was a graduate of Cookman Institute, which is now Bethune-Cookman University and Howard Law School. He took office in January of 1889. In less than 8 months after Judge Dean became serving as a judge, Governor Francis Fleming ordered him to resign. Judge Dean was accused of marrying an interracial couple. Judge Dean refused to resign and garnered support from many influential people in the county. But Governor Fleming issued an executive order suspending Judge Dean until the adjournment of the Senate, unless the Senate decided to remove him. Although the Senate never formally removed the judge, Governor Fleming had already appointed a successor. Judge Dean unsuccessfully continued to fight for his seat. He eventually moved to Jacksonville, Florida, where he died in 1914. His law books had to be auctioned off after his death to pay the debts of his estate, which means he most likely died broke. In 2002, Governor Jeb Bush posthumously reinstated Judge Dean to his seat. Judge Everett understands that he stands on the shoulders of Judge Joseph Hatchett, who was the first African-American since Reconstruction to serve on Florida Supreme Court from 1975 to 1979. He understands that he stands on the shoulders of Justice Leander Shaw, who was appointed to the Florida Supreme Court in 1983 and became the first African-American judge to become Chief Justice of the Florida Supreme Court. He understands that he stands on the shoulders of Justice Peggy Quince, who was the first Black woman appointed to the Florida Supreme Court, and Justice Perry, who was the first African-American ever appointed to the 18th Circuit bench in 2000, and eventually became the fourth African-American to serve on the Florida Supreme Court in 2009. He understands he stands on the shoulders of our local first as well. He stands on the shoulders of Honorable Nikki Ann Clark, who in 1993 became both the first African-American and the first woman to serve on Florida's Second Judicial Circuit in Tallahassee. He stands on the shoulders of Barbara Hobbs, who was the first African-American judge elected to the circuit bench in this circuit in 2012. There are many more shoulders, both locally and nationally, whose shoulders Judge Everett stands on. Today, Judge Everett becomes the third African-American ever to sit on the Second Judicial Circuit bench, and the first African-American male to ever have this seat. In Jeb Bush's speech, where he posthumously reinstated Judge Dean, he stated, by posthumously reinstating Judge Dean to the office he was constitutionally elected to hold, we have not only come to terms with a part of our past, but we have also strengthened the foundations of our future. This appointment truly strengthens the foundation of the future of the Second Judicial Circuit. I can't think of anyone more qualified, more prepared, or more deserving than Judge Stephen S. Everett. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Akbar. Not since your last closing argument that I heard have I been so moved. It's always a privilege to witness your advocacy, sir. At this time, I call on the Honorable Kevin J. Carroll, Circuit Judge of the Second Judicial Circuit, serving in Leon and Wakulla counties, for a presentation.
Next time, can I go after Flurry? Because it's really not fair to make me go after Mr. Akbar.
Paula Watkins makes the programs.
Okay. Well, I have been asked, as I have several times lately, to make a presentation on behalf of the Florida Conference of Circuit Court Judges. And before I do that, I just wanted to briefly say that I first met Judge Everett when he practiced in front of me back in 2014. He came into my courtroom arguing for a summary judgment on behalf of a state agency on basically a fairly esoteric statutory issue, and presented a fairly brilliant scholarly argument. And, you know, he went to LSU, so I was a little surprised. But but after hearing it, I agreed with him and entered an order granting his summary judgment. And the First District, in its wisdom, found that both Judge Everett and I were very scholarly and learned in our approach, and entered an opinion affirming us. And you can look it up; it's still there. And I'm certain that legal scholars years from now will still be looking at this and perusing it and looking for words of wisdom. Having said all that, I have been asked to make this presentation on behalf of the conference. And for those of you who have not been here for the last couple of investitures, this will be new to you, and for some of you it will be old. But the conference is made up of the 599 circuit judges in the state of Florida. And if you think of 23.3 million people, that's one of us for about every 35,000 residents in the state, which is kind of daunting when you think about it. But the conference is organized, and its primary purpose is to aid judges, circuit court judges, in effectively and efficiently conducting their constitutional and statutory duties. That's what it's there for. And it also puts on a conference once a year where we go and get our continuing education. And it also gives you this, which is the coveted desk plate. The first time I was asked to present this, I said, well, I'm glad to present it, but what do you call it? And the chief judge didn't know. So Google is your friend, and I was able to find out what you call it. But it is a solid, I think, walnut piece of wood, and it's got a polished, fairly polished and somewhat bright brass thing on there, and it says, Circuit Judge Stephen S. Everett, invested April 28, 2019, presented by the Florida Conference of Circuit Judges. And as I've said before, it is solid, polished, and reasonably bright, and those are all three good characteristics for a good judge.
Thank you so much, Judge Carroll. Judge Carroll's our mentor judge, and as you can tell, he does an outstanding job. Thank you, Judge Carroll. Christian Cotillo, President, Tallahassee Women Lawyers, for a presentation. Hopefully I didn't screw it up again. Thank you.
May it please the court.
Well,
for those of you that I have not met yet, my name is Christian Cotillo. I'm currently serving as the president of Tallahassee Women Lawyers. And I just have to say, wow, I feel really lucky today, because today marks the second time this month that I've gotten to present Judge Everett with something. So we're just having a great May together. For those of you who were unable to attend Law Day at the start of this month, I had the honor to present on behalf of the Capital City Bar President's Council, Judge Everett, with the 2019 Irvin Equal Justice Award. And among other things, That award is designed to recognize a person in our judicial circuit who is outstandingly devoted to the causes of equal justice and diversity. And without a doubt, that person is Judge Everett. So it feels a little bit poetic for me today to stand up here on behalf of Tallahassee women lawyers to present Judge Everett with something else, because those causes are at the heart and the core of Tallahassee women lawyers' mission. I said it before at Judge Frank's investiture that it takes a special kind of a man to join our membership. And Judge Everett, like Judge Frank, is that kind of a man. He understands that these causes of diversity and equal justice are not just for one subset of our community, that they are causes for all of us. And that's just one reason why I know that Judge Everett is going to make a fantastic circuit judge, as he has already been a fantastic county judge. And I am honored to know you. I am honored to talk with you about the law, whether we're having a lofty conversation about legal issues or just trading our most recent baby pictures. I always need a PAX update. It has been a real pleasure to get to know you and to call you friend. And with that, I present to you your gavel from Tallahassee Women Lawyers.
Outstanding. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And at this time, Jasmine Henderson and Mataki Akbar, President and past President, President Emeritus of the Tallahassee Barristers Association. I just gave you that time.
Good afternoon. My name is Jasmine Henderson, and I currently serve as the president of Tallahassee Barristers. And you've also already met Mataki, who gave a wonderful speech. She said much more than I could say. It is an honor and a privilege to be here today on behalf of the barristers, not only because Judge Everett has been an invaluable member of our organization, but because he and his family are personal friends. When I was getting ready for this speech today, I was kind of lost because it's hard to find something different to say. You know that there are going to be a litany of compliments that are bestowed upon Judge Everett, and he deserves all of those. And we know that he is going to be a great judge. He possesses the qualities. He's intelligent. He graduated from the University of Florida. He is a man of the community. He has integrity and he has experience. And so we know that his service and his perspective will benefit this circuit. And so it is my honor today to present this gift from the Tallahassee Barristers for you. And I don't know if Mitaki has anything additional to say.
No more.
And now at this time, I call upon the Honorable Barbara Hobbs, Judge of the Second Circuit Court, for the administration of the oath of office.
Thank you. And would you repeat after me, please? I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and the government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
and that I am duly qualified to hold office
and that I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of Circuit Judge of the Second Judicial Circuit,
the duties of Circuit Judge of the Second Judicial Circuit,
on which I am about to enter.
on which I'm about to enter,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you so much, Judge Hobbs. And at this time, I call upon the Honorable Stephen S. Everett, Judge of the Second Judicial Circuit, for remarks and response.
Sit down. I'm trying to remain focused to give a good speech. Thank you, though, also. May it please the court, Chief Judge Sostrom, fellow judges, elected officials, family members, and friends, thank you all for coming today. In preparing for my remarks, I realized that May 17th is also the 65th anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education. I would be remiss if I did not recognize this landmark ruling and the special historic achievement given the direct tie it has to my life. Thanks in part to Justice Thurgood Marshall's legacy, I am able to stand here before you today. Only in America could Marshall, the grandson of a slave, change how the Constitution itself would be interpreted through the power of his advocacy. The ripple effects of Marshall's greatest case have been felt far and wide since the 1950s. My parents attended segregated schools in North Carolina up until their high school years during the 1960s. They experienced firsthand what an education was like before and after Brown. Years later, their children benefited from this ruling and received quality education alongside their peers. With the accomplishment of each milestone in my education and legal career, I've been keenly aware of the role legendary figures have played in removing barriers. In the Second Judicial Circuit, I'm proud to say the women have led the way, with Nikki Clark and Barbara Hobbs serving as our first appointed and elected African-American circuit judges. The significance of being the first male African-American circuit judge gives this moment a unique gravitas. Being the first male to serve in this capacity is staggering, partly in recognition of how many talented attorneys have and continue to practice in this circuit, but also because of how long it took for this moment to be achieved. I'm honored to follow the path blazed by the judges who have preceded me, and I intend to work to ensure that the judiciary continues to embody diversity. I'm extremely humbled to have the incredible honor of serving our community on the bench. Since becoming a judge in 2016, I've worked tirelessly to honor the legacy that our national and local heroes have entrusted to my generation. Justice Marshall, we salute you. And it's amazing to know that your battle for equality enables historic firsts to continue into the year 2019. My journey to this moment involved many of the people here today who have invested in my life, but especially my family members. Thank you to my wife, Megan, and the rest of the family who has come today to support me. Today would not be possible without you. Each day I count my blessings for my daily inspirations, Megan and Pax, who we're on borrowed time, but baby, I'm hurrying, I promise. Megan, you show me each day how dedicated and devoted you are to our family. No matter where the journey leads, I know you are always all in. Pax, in the past year, I have often found myself having to play defense against your many bodily fluids when I am attempting to get to work. The joy and energy you possess are infectious. Your hugs and smiles turn the toughest of days into moments I know that we'll look back on with fondness as some of our greatest memories. Thanks to the love and support of my parents and also several of the family members that came to join us today, my father, my stepmother, my Aunt Christine, my Uncle Julius, our family friends, Susan and Arnaldo, Howie and Lori, Vincent and Felicia. Am I missing anybody? Shellhead, I know you're gonna hurt me over that. Major Barbara Jean, and also my sister Natalie, who has the camera attached to her hands. I was continually encouraged not to focus on our humble circumstances, but to find a purpose in life. I love you all dearly. My mother Annie and my Aunt Gwen, who passed away in 2016, would have been very excited and proud to be here with us today. The strength of their characters imparted upon me a determination to pursue a career in the law, knowing that I could be successful even though I was the first in my immediate family to choose this path. As a husband, a father, and now a judge, the ethic of consistent self-improvement and dedication to excellence instilled by my family has even greater significance. I carry my responsibilities associated with these roles with a focused passion and a profound humility. Along with the other judges in this room, I am fortunate to have the privilege to work towards the promise of the American judicial system. In this very courthouse, the judges ensure the proceedings are open to the public, that adversarial examination of evidence takes place, and that constitutional rights and due process are upheld. Over the past 3 years, I have always been and remain committed to ensuring the continued excellence of the Second Judicial Circuit and the legal profession as a whole. When circumstances, such as the recent loss and experience of long-serving judges, such as George Reynolds, Charlie Francis, Terry Lewis, Jim Shelfer, and Karen Gievers call for it, a willingness to serve sometimes requires a willingness to trade one rewarding and personally satisfying position for another. While I loved being a judge in the People's Court, it is a privilege and honor to serve in a new capacity on the circuit bench. I welcome the challenge each day of working hard and applying the law fairly and impartially. The highest compliment that I can hope to receive from the attorneys and litigants who will appear before me is you can count on Judge Everett to follow the law and make just decisions. In closing, this is the part where I get to turn into part-time radio DJ and give the shout-outs. I would like to recognize a few of the people present who were instrumental in helping me to reach this special milestone. Thank you to my fellow circuit court judges for being a wonderful group of colleagues. They have gone out of their way to support me in this transition. Throughout my tenure as a county judge, the teamwork and camaraderie that I shared with Judge Akins, Judge Richardson, well, I should say Judge Richardson Part 2, Nina and Monique, and also Judge Smith was something special and something that I will miss. Thank you to Judge Fleury in particular for bringing out this beautiful baby photo, but not roasting me too bad, and also serving as my first mentor judge. I'm proud to have you as a friend. Thank you to Mentaki Akbar. The first jury selection that I presided over as a judge was with you. I think you remember it also. I admire the work your firm does in the courtroom and also in the community. I've always appreciated your commitment and support, including speaking today. Thank you to my former judicial assistant, Christina Harrelson, for your dedication and also for freely expressing your opinions on all matters big and small. In all seriousness, running a judge's chambers is no small task, and knowing that you had things taken care of behind the scenes enabled me to focus on my job. I would also like to thank my new judicial assistant, Lynn Underwood, for being willing to take on a new challenge. And yes, I did refer to myself as a challenge. Thank you to all the attorneys with whom I have worked or have appeared before me. Your commitment to the law inspires me and has enriched my life personally also. My in-of-court teams in particular have been willing participants or captives, depending on how you view my process for developing a presentation. They have never missed a beat along the way, and I want you all to never forget that I actually wore Fred Conrad's hot dog costume. Thank you to my campaign committee, supporters, and volunteers. You all did such an amazing job in 2018 that we get to do it all over again. I cannot thank the bailiffs, clerks, and members of the court administration team enough. While many people focus on the judges, we are not able to accomplish anything without pulling together as a team. I cannot name everyone who is gathered here today, but I realize that no one ever reaches a special achievement alone. Having the support of my family, friends, and esteemed colleagues gathered here today means so very much. Thank you all always.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Before we proceed to the benediction, there was one judge that I wanted to especially recognize. Judge Everett is moving from the county court to the circuit bench. Our administrative judge of county court is Augustus Akins, who I think at this moment is the longest serving judge in the Second Judicial Circuit. Judge Akins does an extraordinary and difficult task of administering the People's Court. He runs and he really invented the Veterans Treatment Court in the Second Judicial Circuit, and he volunteers to do Mental Health Court and Baker Act. I didn't really get to know Judge Akins until I became the chief and worked so closely with him. Gus, it's a privilege. It's a privilege. And I just want to acknowledge the Honorable Administrative Judge Augustus Akins. At this time, I ask that we give our close attention, and I call upon Dr. Stephen C. Everett of Present Truth Ministries in Cape Coral, Florida, for the benediction.
It's the second time that I get to share for a moment with my son moving up, and it's a proud day for our family. And I thought about in this benediction, what could I say that would be meaningful not only to him, but to every person here, because we each have a slot in life. We each have something that we were uniquely gifted with, that only God could place in us, and that the world would miss if we did not do that. And I can put it in three simple things in this benediction. What is it that the Lord requires of each of us? It is to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly before our God. And so with that, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord's peace be upon you. May he strengthen you. And may it cause you to be the force that you were born to be. I say to each of you, go in peace and be that giant that you are always purposed to be. God richly bless each of you.
Amen. Judge Everett, I think this is another historic moment. I believe this could be the shortest investiture we've ever done. There is a reception to follow in courtroom 2F of the second floor. This court is adjourned. Thank you.